Do you have a gamer in your household? I do. I have lots of gamers in my household. Today we are going to be doing some really fun things for those gamers where you get to try out a bunch of your skills and use up a ton of your scraps. Stay with me because today is series 1 of 3. We're going to be doing 3 fun projects over the next 3 weeks of things that you can make for your gamers in your household. So today we're going to be doing this little guy right here. If we go on the overhead camera, I will open it up for you. So we have our little bow here. I made this for my 12-year-old son. The gamers in my household love Magic the Gathering. So here is a little gaming mat. This is where a little pocket right here where your gamers can put their really awesome packs of cards. I just got this. I found this at the grocery store. How cool is that? Anyways, he's super excited to get his gaming mat right here. So that's where the cards are stored. And then you can flip it over. He loves this side because it looks like dragon scales. And then he'll use this whole mat. And you can take it anywhere. You can take it to a friend's house. You can take it camping, to the beach, wherever, and then you'll have a nice clean area. Heaven forbid they should put their precious cards on an icky picnic table, right? So they'll have a cool area to play their games on. So let's dive in, and I'm going to show you how you can use up your scraps and make a really fun little project for the gamers in your life. I'm gonna just put this right back away. It just slides right into its pocket there. And you close up the sides like so. And then it folds up like this. And then you have your straps. And you just tie it however you want. All right, so I'm gonna show you the dimensions which you need to make this cool to-go gaming mat. Set that aside. I have some fun. I've used all scraps. These are all things that I pulled out of my scrap box, which is super great. I'm gonna open this. Oh, and it's all upside down for you. How about we go like this? Okay. The first thing that that I have on the top here is the pocket. You need to cut the pocket to 8 inches by 11. So we have the pocket there. And then the topper right here, which is this smaller size right here, is 21.5 by 21.5 inches. Then we have our batting. The batting is going to be 23 inches by 23 inches here. And then you have, they're sticking together so well. The backing is also 23 inches by 23 inches. Okay, I'm going to take those little markers out because I'm going to show you the next step of what you're going to want to do with these. Okay, now that I've got my pieces sandwiched together, isn't this so awesome? I think this fabric is called Magic. We have this in our stores right now. We have it here at Tukwila. It was just perfect. Magic fabric for the Magic game. So I have Roxanne temporary adhesive spray, and it is my favorite for quilting. I don't have to worry about pins, and I can spray it inside. It doesn't have any toxic smells to it. We do have a fan going on in here. Ooh, let's see if I can get the lid off. There we go. Okay, I just give this a spray like this little corner right in this area, and then I give it a little pat. You can feel it's nice and cool in there. And then we're gonna do this area too. Give it a little spray like so. And then we're gonna pat it down. And then I turn it over to the other corner. We're gonna spray this one. And we're gonna pat that down there and spray the other one like so, and pat it down, smooth it out, just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna let it dry. So while we set this guy aside, I'm going to pull out our other one that oh wait, I gotta give you the rest of the dimensions. Hold on. Okay, so that's your quilt sandwich right here. You do need some ties. Set that aside. And the little ties that you will use to tie it are 2 inches by 21 inches right there. And then your binding, I just made, this is not cut on the bias because I didn't have enough of this fabric. It's just the 2.5 inches by the width of the fabric. And I said 4, but really I only needed 3 to go around the whole edge. So three strips is totally fine. But so ignore the 4, do 3, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so that's all you need to make this fun little gamer's mat. Okay, now that you have, we're gonna set, oh, actually, what I wanted to do is talk about the batting, how you can use up, we talked about scraps, right? And I'm sure you've got little bits and pieces, like I've got random bits and pieces of my batting. I don't throw any of them away because of this fantastic product. It's called Heat Press Batting Together. Yeah, it's a very interesting title, but it is fantastic. I never go without this in my sewing studio. So let me show you how this works really quick. But first, before I do that, see how my corners are all wonky, and it's hard to get your batting to like really set down when it's all wonky like this. I'm gonna grab my Lara Star. This is a really amazing iron. Once you use this iron, you will not want to use any other iron. It is so fantastic. It has micro steam in it. Ooh, it's called a dry micro steam. And what I love about this is I can float this over my batting and it will take out all the wrinkles. So like magic. I'm not even touching my batting and it just takes out all those wrinkles. So I can get that, so I can get my batting flat. You know, especially if you're using a little bit fluffier of a batting, I don't want my batting to get all smushed. Okay, so I flattened it all out. It's nice and smooth for the most part. I've got these 2 little pieces here that I want to kind of Frankenstein together. Just going to put those there, and this is the tape. You can tell which side has the glue on it because it has the bumps, right? I'm just going to put that there, and I love this over stitching. And once again, I am just kind of floating it. I'm not pressing it down. I'm just kind of floating it over the edge. Gonna let it cool a second because it is glue. And look at that. I don't have to put any on the other side. It just joins those 2 pieces together like that. And voila. You don't have any lumps or bumps, especially if you do like the zigzag. And then same. You can just put this batting tape out here. Iron it in place like so. With the Lara Star, which is my favorite iron on the face of the planet, I'm going to trim that off. And voila, I have pieced myself the batting I need to quilt my little gaming mat. And you've used up a bunch of those little scraps that you've been saving for years, and you've always known that you will use them for some purpose, and this is it. It's so great. Okay, we're going to set that aside now that we've accomplished that, and our batting tape and our spray. We have used those up, and next I'm going to pull down our next steps. Okay, so I have my sandwich together right here. Let's see, can you see that over? Yeah, we can. Okay, so I've got Darth Vader on this side. This is going to go to my husband. He's a fan of Darth Vader. This is going to be my husband, so him and my son can play together. They'll have so much fun. All right, so what you're going to want to do after you've let your spray dry and your batting, your sandwich is ready to be quilted together, you get to quilt it. What the cool thing is about this is that you can try and experiment with quilting techniques that you have never tried but you want to, because like with this one, I actually like drew out a lightsaber and I fussy stitched out a lightsaber on there with like lightning rays. And I asked my husband if he could tell what it was. And he's like, "Ooh, it looks like a satellite." And I'm so glad it was like a small little project here that I experimented with that on. So today I'm going on the machine. I'm going to show you this really fun technique. This is the Baby Lock Vesta, and it has this really fun stitch, but it takes a little bit of practice to get used to how it works. The machine actually moves side to side to do this stitch. So I've got a little piece of black fabric here. And up at the top, they have like different sections. So this is going to be in the section 6, where the stitches will actually move back and forth. And I have here on the front of the machine, I'm in section 6, and then I've gone over all the way down to stitch number 71, which just has like this kind of windy snake-like path to it. So we're gonna check that out. I'm gonna put my foot down right here. So like I said, I'm gonna start in the middle of my little scrap fabric, and you want to try this on a scrap first, just so you can get used to how it starts, because it does move the fabric from side to side as it's stitching. And we're just gonna press go. Can you see that? It's moving it from side to side. It is so cool. And I love this stitch because you can do a big quilt this way with this big stitch, and it's not just your typical little tiny stitch that can only go in between the little foot, but it's a bigger, fun stitch that you can do on here and experiment with. This is a great, like I said, making these little mats are a great way to experiment with fun stitches that you've always wanted to try. We're just going to stop that there and lift up the foot. Look at that! Isn't that so cool? And like I said, there's tons that you can experiment with, but this is just one. I actually, on this one that I made for my son, I used a teeny tiny one, and I just made lines all the way down my quilt, and I just followed the lines down the quilt, and it was very simple. This one took a little bit longer because I used some chalk, and I chalked in the image that I wanted to stitch out on there. So the sky's the limit. You can try out your edge-to-edge stitching. You can try out ruler work for the first time if you've never done that before, because this is a safe place to experiment with those fun stitches. Okay, let's keep moving with our mat. We're going to go overhead. And I have out, you can see that I've got these weird little things right here, and these are actually magnets. I'm using the Sew Tights magnetic cutting system right here because what I love about it is the ruler itself has magnets in it. You can hear that. And then it has these little booster magnets as well. You can hear those. They're clicking the actual fabric down. When you don't have anything stabilizing your fabric, it slides all over the place. But these little guys hold all of that sandwich, the thickness of your project holds it in place so your fabric isn't sliding around. And then these little guys are also holding my ruler in place as well. So when I go to cut, it's also smooshing down all those layers. Because when you've quilted, what I found is when I quilt something and I'm making like a bag, or you can see where it's quilted more, it kind of does these weird lumpy things, and it's hard to get a really good clean cut. But that's why I'm using this. I love this magnetic system because it squishes all your layers down, and so you're going to get a clean cut through all those layers. You're not going to get wonky weirdness. So let's do a clean cut here. And I have it kind of, I can't cut it totally all off because my cutting mat only goes so far. Right here and right here. I've got it sideways, but we're going to, let's switch the whole cutting system like this. That way I can cut all the edges off. Oh, I got to get the magnets off. Huh. I was wondering, why isn't my fabric moving? Because I have magnets on it. Okay, we're going to stabilize our fabric now. Now our fabric isn't going to move around. Going to cut a bunch of that off earlier. Going to lock this down in place. Now that that is locked in place, we just easily, did you see that? I did that whole long cut like that, and the magnets were holding everything in place, which is fantastic. That's why I really love this magnetic cutting system. Okay, and look at that. Look at our quilted edges. They came out so perfect. Gotta move these one more time. We're just gonna clean up this little corner right here. We're gonna lock our fabric in place. 2, 3. They have a bigger one, but for the sake of camera, I use this little one right here. Okay. And there's that. All right, I don't think I need a whole ruler to get this little tiny corner right. Okay, awesome. Now we're gonna set this aside. Aside all of our little magnets right there. Okay, now we get to figure out where we want what. We need to put a little pocket on there. So I'm going to flip this over. So mine is kind of directional. It goes up and down this way. So I'm going to put a little pocket, the little pocket that goes on here. I'm going to put it down here, kind of over where the lightsaber was. And we have that pocket fabric, which is underneath my pile here. So I've got my 8 by 11 inch square. You're going to fold it right sides together, right like so, and just kind of finger press that like that. And then, can we see this over top? Oh, sort of, a little bit. So I have 2 little markings right here. I left about a 3-inch gap right here, and I've sewed down the edges here to here, stopped, back stitched, left the gap open, started here, and stitched around the edges. So now I have my little pocket, and when it comes to a little pocket corners, really finished corners like this, I actually don't trim the corners. You can if that's something you really love to do, but I'm going to show you a trick that I like to do when it comes to these little corners. So I take my thumb, I'm going to put it up into the corner like so. I'm going to fold perfectly right in with the stitches and kind of finger press there. And then I'm going to fold to the back right on top of the other one and do a little finger press and hold that in place. So you can see I've got a perfect corner right like that. And then when you flip it, it just pokes out the corner perfectly, right like that. Okay, I'm going to do it on this bottom one as well. I'm going to fold that right in line with everything else, give it a little finger press, pop that corner right out. As well, we're going to do it with all of the corners. We'll do it a little faster. Finger press, fold, finger press, flip, and then the last one, finger press. Make sure it's got that nice pointed corner before I flip it. That way when you flip it, it has a nice perfect corner, just like so. And voila, we have great little corners. And you can take your little stiletto here and make sure those corners are really nice and straight. Help it along just a little bit, like so, like so, and like so. Okay, at this point, you're going to want to give it a little press. If I can grab my ironing, right like this. Finger pressing that edge. Using this micro steam. The micro steam embeds into the fibers of your fabric even faster than a regular steam iron. And that's how you can get these perfect crisp edges right there. All right. And now it says to go about an inch away, inch and a half away from the edge. I'm going to fold it in the middle to get like the middle of my, oh, it's right there. I've actually got a stitch. I was going to mark it, but I already have a stitch. That's the very middle right there. Let's see, which edge has the open? Okay, so I want to make sure that the open edge is down at the bottom right here. Fold it in half. Give it a little finger press so I can see a little mark. And I'm going to line it up right there. I'm going to eyeball it about an inch and a half away, right like that. And I can just line it right up along with this bottom line right there. And then you're just going to stitch around the edges here. Right like so. Just going to throw a couple of pins in here just to make sure that it stays in place. Right like that. We're going to go back to stitching just a lovely straight stitch. I'm going to stitch that in there really quick. And, oh, lower the presser foot first. And then gonna back stitch. Oh, there we go. Then we're gonna stitch, getting close to that needle. So I'm gonna pull that little needle out right there. Gonna stitch very close to the edge. All right. Press the foot up. Notice I've left my needle down, and that way I can have a perfect corner. Oh, I gotta put the foot down. That's right. And we're gonna stitch all in the fabric. That always makes a difference. I'm not used to stitching sideways, so thanks for bearing with me. And we're really close. One more stitch. Okay, leave that needle down. Oh, put my foot down. Gonna take that needle out. And voila. Oh, you gotta keep your finger on there. Okay, perfect. We backstitched, got it on there, foot up, and ta-da, we've got our pocket in there, right like so. We're gonna clip this. And then the next thing we're going to do is your straps. So these are really easy to do, and this is really fun as well if you want to experiment with the fun stitches on your machine again. So we're going to, oh, I just threw that right off the edge there. We're going to fold your tie in half. We're going to give it a good iron, right like so. Boop, make sure those edges are even. And okay, fantastic. Beautiful. And then we're going to fold those edges in to the middle, right like that. We're going to do the other both sides right into the middle. so, can you see how great the steam on this is, just really making these edges creased just beautifully. I love the micro steam because it doesn't feel like it burns me like regular steam does, and it doesn't leave dollops in my fabric, like drip marks and things. Okay, I'm gonna put those two into the middle, the center, like so. Almost done here. And what's really cool about these mats as well is I'm using 3 different colors of fabrics. You can do it all the same. You can do it in 2 different fabrics, 3 different fabrics, 4 different fabrics if you really want to, if you're really trying to use up your scraps. But you can make these unique just for the person that you are making this gamer's mat for. Do you have someone that loves Betty Boop and loves to play solitaire? Do you have someone that loves Pokemon? You know, the sky is the limit. What are their favorite colors and interests? Okay, so you're going to do this with the other strap as well, and voila. Oh, there's one more thing that I forgot. On one of the ends, you're going to open it up like so. You're going to fold it in about 1/2 an inch and give that a little press as well. And fold those in, and then fold it in one more time, right like that. You're going to get a nice finished little end right there. Give that a little press. Make sure that it wants to stay like that. Awesome. That looks fantastic. So when you're done with both of those, you can take those over to the machine and you can do your own fun stitch. I've never used this stitch on my sewing machine before, and so I thought I would try it out, and it fit perfectly right in the center of that. I thought that was really cool. So experiment with those fun stitches that you've got. And we've got our 2 straps right there. So I'm going to set this aside, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the opposite side of your pocket. So I'm going to put those like, I don't know, since one side I didn't change the bobbin for the other side, so you can only see it on one side. Okay, these are the 2 raw edges, so you want to make sure that the 2 raw edges are close to the raw edge right here, and you're going to put those like in the center. So this is about center right there, and I'm going to pin those in place. If I had some of those clips, I would definitely use clips right now, because this is very thick and these little pins are very tiny. But learn from my mistake. Actually, I'm going to put those a little bit closer, just a little bit to the edge, like so. All right. Fantastic. And then you want to sew your binding together. So I did my edges together. Let's see, where is an edge that I put together? All right, the best way to do it is to do 2 corners together at an angle like so. So you don't have a big lumpy 2 seams, like 4 seams, 6 seams. So it spreads out the seam so it goes on more evenly. And then I like to start on one of these edges here, and you're going to just bind it like regular. You will leave a big edge first, and then just pin it in place I'm not going to do all of this because there's many beautiful binding tutorials that will show you how to do this. And this is plenty. You'll have a little extra when you're done, but go ahead and you're going to bind right over the top of those, right like that. And then when you do that, and these will just be incorporated right into the binding. And just like that, once you get that binding on there, voila, your gamer's mat will be complete. It will be awesome. And it will look like this. So once again, just as a review, you can see that I have my binding. My two little straps are coming out. Oh, I lied. You put them on the other side. That's what you do. I'm so glad we reviewed, aren't you? Okay, instead of putting them on the same side as this, you're going to want to fold down this top like that. And then add your bindings on there. So review. This is the real way you do it. This is the true way. You fold this top edge down so you know that you're putting it on the opposite side, the right side, right like that. And you can do them both on top of each other like this. These little pins that I have right here are just too thin to pin through both at the same time. So once you pin those on, then do your binding. Okay, so it will look like this. And you can see that I embroidered my son's name right there. And you can totally add any, like, their gamer's name or whatever on there. But he was thrilled that his pocket said Henry. Okay, so we've got our binding finished. We've attached on our ties. We have our pocket. And it just folds in right like so. 1, 2, and 3 with a tie, and voila, that is the finish of our Gamer Series number 1. I hope that you can join us again next week for our Gamer Series 2. And in that one, we are going to be making an embroidered dice tray. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a great adventure with your gamer's mat.